Get on up to Lesson on Coding.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Lesson on Coding. My name is Ryan Lesson. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to use variables and the different types of variables within JavaScript. Okay, so to follow along, please make sure that you have Node installed so you can run the REPL as well. And without any further ado, let's get right onto it. Alright guys, so let's go over variables within JavaScript. So how do you declare a variable? Well, you declare a variable like this. You do it with first setting var, and there's a couple ways to do it. This is just one way starting out, and you give it a name. We're going to call this x. Alright, and we're going to give this variable x a value of hello. So there we go. So there we go. We have x defined. We could use it throughout the application. And let's just see it. We're going to log it real quick. So right to the log, come down here and run it. There you go. As you see, I ran it. I ran the file, and hello is printed to the console. All right. So let's talk about other things you need to know with variables. All right. So let's get into new variables that have been introduced. So first off, to start with JavaScript, there's really only two ways to declare variables. You can do it with var, which again will be function scope. So the variable will be scoped to the specific function that you are using. All right. And it's going to be hoisted throughout the application. I'll get into that in a second. Also, there's a way to globally declare variables, and that's just declaring the name without a keyword in front of it and the value. So let's just go like this and call global and give it a name of hello. Ooh, I am global. Okay, so there we go. So we have a global variable as well defined here. Now this will be available throughout all our application, while the var x is only available within the function that it's scoped to. So this is basically ES5 JavaScript. Now let's move into ES6 JavaScript, which is the newer version of JavaScript. And there's a couple different ways to declare variables within the updates. All right, so first things first, introduce a new thing called let. So the let keyword, so we're going to define a variable, let y equal. Okay, so the let keyword lets us declare variables as well. And these variables are block scope. So that means that they're only scoped to the curly boys that they're function to. So curly boys, I mean these bad boys right here. So again, this let would only be scoped to this right here. So to show you a quick example between one of the main differences between var and let, let's go into how the hoisting works for this, okay? So we're gonna come down here and I'm gonna console.log x. Okay, and then we're going to use the var keyword, x equals hello. And then we're going to console.log x. Okay, so let's get rid of all this here. So when I run this, I get undefined and hello. This is because the var keyword lets this value be hoisted. So when we pass this console.log x before it's actually declared, it'll just return as undefined. Okay, rather than not referenced. So this is what I'm getting at with let. When we use the let keyword here, and then we run it, we will get that x is not defined. So that means it's not even referencing, undefined. It's undefined in general, and it's not being set, okay? So that's a major difference between the two. So now let's get into how the scoping works between the two variables. Okay, guys, so a really good way to show you how to do this is by doing a loop. So we're going to quickly create a for loop here. So we're going to do for let I. So first let's start with var actually, excuse me. So let var I equal 0, I is less than 5, and I plus, I plus plus. Okay, there we go. All right, so here we go. We have our loop set, and here I want to console.log I, okay? So this is all good and dandy, but let's remember when we come outside here and we log I, and then let's run this application to see, but first let me remove this code up here before we run it. We don't want that to interfere. We're gonna come down here and we're gonna run. As you can see, we're getting I printed out, but at the very end, we have another 5. So this is because it starts at 0, because again, I'm starting at 0, incrementing of 5. So as you can see, the I is not specifically scoped to this block function. It can be accessed outside of it, and sometimes you don't want that. So that's why this let keyword comes in handy. So again, if I declare this as let, and I run it again, I will get I is not defined. This is perfect because this makes sure that this I is only, encapsulated scope to this for statement. or excuse me, this for loop here. Okay, so now let's make some changes and check out another key difference between the two. So if I come here and I change this to var, I remove this here, I come in here, and I add a set timeout. So we'll give it 500 milliseconds. We're going to come in here, we're going to console.log I. Okay guys, so what do you think I is returning here? Let's run it and see what I is. So as you can see, when it's run, it's not 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually all 5s is the output. And you'll be like, why is this? Well, again, it has to do with scoping of the variables, all right? When this is happening, you got to remember that the set timeout is pushing, you know, this line of code right here to be executed at a later time when the set timeout is resolved. So once it's resolved, it goes to run the set timeout. But remember, this var is not scoped to the set timeout. So at the very end of the 500 milliseconds, it goes to check out what I is, and that is when the for loop has completed and I is equal to 5. So you might ask, how do you solve this? I want it to be 0 through 4. So we'll come in here, we'll add the let keyword in here. And the let keyword, when we run it, you can see it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is because the scope is block scoped here. And to give you a better example here, I'll show you how the let keyword is actually compiled down. Okay guys, so here it is. I have a Babel compiler right here. And with this Babel compiler, I'm going to kind of show you how ES6 is compiled down to ES5. So we're going to come in here, we're going to copy this over, and then I will paste it right here. So as you can see, what's going on here is that the function is scoped within a function here, and this is kind of a closure. But this is being, you know, the variable is being encapsulated in the closure. So even though the for loop's ended, how I is passed into this loop right here, it's going to still be the number that it's passing in. So it's passing as 0. Once this executes and it completes, it's going to look to see what I is right here. It's going to see, oh, it's 0. Let's console.log 0. Instead of referencing I when the for loop is completed and the value is going to be 4. Alright guys, so now there's only one more keyword to look at, and that is the const keyword, alright? So the const keyword is a way to have a constant variable within your JavaScript application. So remember, this is not exactly what it looks like. So let's just work on this in the compiler to see what it works as. So the const keyword is basically a variable that is function scoped and that cannot be reassigned. So if I add const here, so I do const x equals hello, you'll see all it is saying variable x equals hello. So again, if your compilers aren't going to catch this, the only thing that's going to catch is things like in the browser, like Google Chrome and Firefox newest updates have things in their JavaScript engine that actually catch this. Or you need something like your TS linter or whatever, your ES6 compiler and stuff like that to throw errors for you to see that, oh, const can't be reset. Because if you look here, you can see that all it is var x equals hello. Alright everyone, so that's it for how to use variables within JavaScript and the different types of variables and some examples for you. So I hope you learned something, and that's it. Take care. Woo!
Coming at you, about to teach you a lesson. When it comes to code, you know he's never guessing. So if you think you want to learn to go and code things, get on up to lesson on coding.